Now let's move on and taking a return trip
Yes.
back to Nigeria as we talk about the Super Eagles and Napoli striker Victor Osimhen, who has been ranked fourth best men's striker. Osimhen was placed fourth in the list for the top 10 strikers category for last season, which was posted on ESPN's Twitter handle on Tuesday. Manchester City star Erling Haaland was placed at number 1, Karim Benzema at number 2, while Harry Kane was third. Osimhen was instrumental for Napoli, who became Serie A champions for the first time since 1990, having scored 26 goals in the Italian top flight to become top scorer, the first African to achieve the feat. What is going on here? This doesn't make any sense to me. I know it might seem to outsiders that we may be biased. We want our boy to be given his due. We want him to be ranked higher on the list. No one is disputed that Erling Haaland had a terrific season, so much so that he's been considered for the Ballon d'Or, even though I believe absolutely he is not going to win it, not when he's going up against the institution that is Lionel Messi. But Osimhen, surely, he did more than enough to be ranked higher than Harry Kane, than Karim Benzema, both of whom had terrific seasons of their own. But Karim Benzema scored 19 goals, not 26 that Osimhen scored. His team did not win the league. In fact, they tailed off to their eternal rivals Barcelona. He did something for Napoli that no one expected for them for a long time. It's been such a long time, since the 1990s, since they won the league title. And they've won it again for the first time. And he became the first African player to be crowned the best player in Serie A. The truth is, the English Premier League and Spanish League are ranked higher, even though the coefficient when grading goals and their points is the same. Yet, the marketability of the Premier League and the Spanish League might have played a big role in why Victor Osimhen is regarded as the fourth best striker in the world. What do you think?
So first of all, I think ranking him as fourth best striker in the world is that word now misses me. I think is blasphemy. The only striker in the world that can be ranked above Victor Osimhen at the moment is Erling Haaland. And if I'm even going to make a case for any other striker in world football at the moment, probably Harry Kane. So Harry Kane might be.
What about Lewandowski?
Never. Not in 2022-2023. I absolutely disagree. I watched Barcelona's games. Lewandowski was a shadow of himself.
He did score more goals than Benzema, though.
I understand. Look at the Barcelona team that conceded 11 goals in that same La Liga. What they do in Europe. It is based on the teams they face. It's based on the form of the La Liga in the just concluded season. So Lewandowski I'm not saying he was scoring easy goals, but Lewandowski was enjoying a momentum in La Liga where Barcelona were the best team. But look at what Haaland did in English Premier League, where we expected him to struggle. Look at what Victor Osimhen did in the Italian Serie A, where he had the likes of Lautaro Martinez in Inter Milan, putting up the lighter under him. We had Ademola Lookman, who is his countryman in Atalanta, also firing on all cylinders. I mean, and he was still giving them gap, like we say in our local parlance. Look at Harry Kane in a struggling Tottenham Hotspur side that is still yet to win a spoon. The guy scored 30 goals in the season. So those are the strikers that deserve to be in the same sentence with Victor Osimhen, not Lewandowski, not Benzema. I absolutely disagree. So yes, Erling Haaland number 1, Victor Osimhen number 2, or probably Victor Osimhen and Kane joint 2. But that's just my ranking. No other striker comes in top 3.
Well,
2022, 2020.
If we're talking about Harry Kane, for example, it is more than just his goals. It's the number of assists he tends to provide, the contribution he makes to the way his team plays overall. But Victor Osimhen was so instrumental to the way his team played that it is definite a definite certainty that they could not have won the league without him. And when you consider that, I might even say he should be number one, because I fully believe Man City could have won the league without Erling Haaland's goals.
But they wouldn't have won the Champions League without Erling Haaland's goals. Let's not forget. No! Erling Haaland scored 12 goals, 12 important goals. The only game he didn't score, I think it was in semi-final second leg. He scored in every single game. He scored a hat-trick against RB Leipzig and he hooked them. So his goals were important for Man City in the running into the treble. Do you know how many goals he scored in the FA Cup? I think he scored 5 goals in 6 games. People don't mention it, but he scored important goals in all the competitions he won. The English Premier League was the highest goal scorer. The Champions League was the highest goal scorer. He scored 5 goals in the FA Cup. Even internationally, he scored 5 goals for Norway in a Group D that is not ranked, and he still scores goals. Come on. I think we shouldn't look for excuses not to rank him. He's the best striker in the world. He's number one, and the number 2.
I do not doubt Erling Haaland's abilities. I just know that I've had plenty of debates with friends, with colleagues, and one of the recurring themes of those arguments has been, would Erling Haaland have done as well if he was playing for any other team that did not create as much opportunities with as much ease as Manchester City? He probably would score more goals, or just about the same number of goals, if he was playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona. But if he wasn't playing for any of these teams where the football IQ level of almost every single player in the squad, the complete nature of their technical prowess is so undisputed, and the natural instinct of their connections and bonds on the pitch is so second nature to them. Perhaps if he was playing in a team like Chelsea, we might have seen an Erling Haaland that finished the season with 15, maybe 20 goals.
So Kane can score 30 goals in a struggling Tottenham side, but Haaland can score in the Chelsea.
No, but Harry Kane, we all understand that Harry Kane doesn't just score goals. He carries the team. Erling Haaland doesn't contribute as much to the build-up of play as Harry Kane, Karim Benzema, or even Victor Osimhen. None of these strikers are to be compared to Erling Haaland when it comes to building up play from midfield to getting the goal at the end of the game. I mean, in the first couple of months, 10 games in, Erling Haaland had about 20 goals, and he had only played 10 games, and plenty of goals were scored as tap-ins because the squad was so creative, was just so they go into a game and it's like shock and awe. It's like being attacked by the US military, for example.
I agree with your last. Absolutely. First of all, you don't expect Erling Haaland to do the job other players around him are doing to perfection. Why do you think Harry Kane is part of the build-up? Because Tottenham Hotspur don't have a number 10. People don't understand that. They think Harry Kane is doing what Harry Kane is doing because he wants to do it. He had several altercations with Antonio Conte because he was doing double job. Harry Kane is not supposed to be part of the playmaking or coming back to build up for anything if he had players around him that were doing the job Man City does for Haaland. We are praising a player who has to do the job of a playmaker because the team doesn't have it. So what does Erling Haaland do when De Bruyne is on his point, when Bernardo Silva is on point, when Foden is on point, Gundogan is on point, Mahrez can come in something and still be on point. So he should go and do their job just to put the point.
No, of course
I don't believe so.
Of course not. But what we are saying is that aside from, so if I put Harry Kane, I believe if you put Harry Kane or Karim Benzema in a Pep Guardiola squad, in this Man City squad, they could score as many goals as Erling Haaland. Meanwhile, if you put an Erling Haaland in Tottenham, you wouldn't get as many goals, and his ability to contribute as number 10/number 9 wouldn't be on the level of Harry Kane or Karim Benzema. That's all I'm saying.
But we can only agree on that if we have seen him do that, or if he has been required to do that. He has not been required to do that yet. And even at that, I
Come
have seen Erling
on.
Haaland take the
Regardless
ball.
of whether we've
Wait,
seen
I've
him
seen.
do it, whether he's been required to do it, sometimes I've seen his first touches be so errant that you're wondering if he's
How
still
many
learning the
times?
craft.
How many times has that happened? I've
Plenty
seen
of
this Erling
times.
Haaland
Plenty
take
of
the ball,
times. He has a heavy
roll,
touch.
roll,
He has a heavy touch, and it happened in the Champions League. It
because
happened in the Premier League. We saw it countless times that when, okay, I'll say this, and we can move on from this. At the beginning of the season, Erling Haaland barely came back to take the ball, to contribute, to hold up play, to lay off passes to other players. Gradually, over the rest of the season, by the second half of the season, he started to do that more. Perhaps Pep Guardiola was training him more and more in private to get him to do that, to recognize that was one of his responsibilities. However, in doing that, we saw oftentimes that there were times when he came and he had misplaced passes, he had errant first touches, and he did not, to the degree that when someone like Lukaku was playing hold-up play for Chelsea or Inter Milan at his best, Erling Haaland wasn't that precise. That's all I'm going to say.
but the point remains that he will only do what is required of him. So let's take it from where you started, from the start of the season, when he came and he was a little bit grumpy or bumpy in front of goal. Personally, I always look forward to watching Erling Haaland's post-match reactions when media officers walk up to him, and he always says something consistent. You would see the energy to want to improve, to want to be better. He will even be telling you his mistakes. He knows he makes mistakes. He knows what he can do better. He will tell you, I didn't touch that ball well. I should
Well,
have
okay,
scored 5 goals.
he's a goal
So
scorer.
now, so we saw the progression that he learned along the way, and he became better. And he is 22. He's practically Gen Z.
Well,
He's not 25 or 30.
I'm
He's
not
still going to be better.
criticizing him. I'm not saying he can't do it with time and training. I'm saying that if we have a more complete striker like Karim Benzema and or Harry Kane in his position, surely with the level of wealth of talent at Man City, it wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility that we can imagine either of these two aforementioned strikers scoring 50 goals, scoring even more than 50 goals, because they know how to score and because of their abilities to also contribute to the way the game progresses. They will always be of higher value to the squad than perhaps a striker who is still learning his craft. That's all I'm saying. He's a lethal goal scorer. He has plenty of power, he has plenty of pace, but at times he makes decisions about how he wants to finish that are typical of a young striker who just wants to smash the ball into the back of the net, as opposed to someone with as much time and brain as some like Thierry Henry, who always opened up his legs and slot the ball into the back of the net at the far corner. Is all I'm saying.
But I will still say that it is still not true the way we ascribe Erling Haaland. Okay, recent history in the just concluded European qualifiers. I think it was against Scotland, right? Erling Haaland was on the field. There was little from Norway, but he scored a goal, the first goal of the game. When he was substituted, guess what? Scotland came up to win that game 2-1. Norway is nothing without Haaland. That's not the first time it happened. Let's go back to last year during the UEFA Nations League B, when the period where he scored 5 goals in 6 games. It happened again. He scored the only goal against Slovenia, who also went ahead to win the game. Against Cyprus, the last game they played in the European qualifiers, he scored 2 goals in the 3 goals they scored in that game. Go back to the time with Molde. Go back to the time with Howard Salzburg. Go back to the time with Borussia Dortmund. At Borussia Dortmund, Haaland had the best goal per game ratio in all the season in the Bundesliga, better than Lewandowski. But the reason why his numbers was not up to Lewandowski was because he was injured. He was out of the game for much of the season. But his number of goals per his number of games was better than any striker, both living and dead. So we underrate Haaland too much. That's just my point. He does it when he's required to do it.
All right. We are not going to agree, so we're going to instead agree to disagree. Thank you so much, Gbenga, for joining me on the show. It's always a pleasure having your voice on these important sports stories. Thank you.
I'm sure you know we still have a beef. I'm yet to eat meat. I'm yet to get any. So we have beef, and I'll say it on live TV.
That time has passed. All things have passed away and all things have become new. Move on, my friend.
If World Drunk can come out and call out the federation, I'm calling you out here.
Federation of Associated Meats. Thank you so much, Gbenga. Always a pleasure having you. And to everyone at home or at work, wherever it is you've had the pleasure of joining us, it has been a pleasure having you along for the ride. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. As always, remember, life is never boring with some sports. It's certainly never boring for me. Have a wonderful evening.